It's the JT Cho Show!
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the JT Cho Show. I'm your host, JT. Today is April 7th, 2020, one of the worst years in the entire world. You know, every single year, everyone's like, next year, and we've been doing that since 2012, so are we even really alive anymore? Were the Mayans right? I don't know. My 25th episode. The only other person that I could have possibly thought to do an episode of this caliber, because I'm 1/4 of the way to 100. 25 is a big number. 25 year working at a company. We've been married for 25 years. 25 is a big number. I wanted to get Darren McCarty from the Detroit Red Wings, but of course he's a high caliber profile hockey player. He's not going to do some scrub like myself's podcast. But who else to helped me do the 25th podcast, and one of my really good friends, Frankie Graybars. So, Frankie, how you doing today?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing good. Just surviving in 2020. I mean, everyone's been saying the same thing online. March lasted like 5 years.
Yeah, it did. I don't know about you, but I've lost track of time since being on quarantine.
I've actually been working that overtime since this all started because, you know, I work in the medical system. That's all I really want to say about it. I'm essential.
Hey, more power to you for working in the medical system during all of this. I don't know what was worse, security forces or working in the medical system during a major global pandemic.
You know, it's the toughest thing for me. Like, okay, here's my unscientific opinion about myself. I feel like I'm going to say 80% of the country is asymptomatic. This is my prediction. I'm going to say it hit some people really hard. It sucks. You know, it's going to blow. It's going to take its course. Nobody really knows anything, and the panic just needs to stop. What I'm saying is, I feel personally, I come in contact with it so much, and I take all precautions all the time as well as we can, and I feel like I could possibly be asymptomatic. I don't know, because you don't have symptoms. I don't want to pass it to my parents, who then give it to my grandma, and I killed grandma, you know? Like, yeah. So basically, like, self-isolating, you know, it's a huge choice for me just because, like, I don't want to kill my grandma, you know?
Yeah. I don't know how I'd live with myself if that would happen, but luckily all my grandparents are dead, so.
Yeah, man. My granny's still strong. She doesn't really pay attention. I don't know. I think she just doesn't believe in it. She's just so tired of the news these days. She's just like, it's not real. I go out every day. And I'm like, Grandma, you're 80-ish, and you have lung problems. You were in that category. I'm like a healthy, young, somewhat in shape, a little overweight, non-smoker male. You know, I'm good to go. I'm not the one I have to worry about. And my grandma's just like in the grocery store every day. I'm like, just get your groceries at once. And she's like, I gotta go every day. I gotta get the freshest canned green beans. What are some activities you've been doing since we started self-isolating?
Well, so when the outbreak, I guess, got really big here in the U.S.,
I remember that day.
Our school was actually on spring break.
Yeah.
So they were like, hey, we're moving to online format. Everybody stay home. So I was like, okay. And, you know, jokingly, my wife and I never go out anymore. So, it's nothing new. And so mostly what I've been doing is a lot of homework, because a lot of these professors, they were all in class. They, in-person classes.
Right.
So now they don't really know what to do. So they were just like, they just start throwing homework assignments at us.
Just
So
do this worksheet and turn it in.
yeah, so I had my science professor, right? He's throwing like 5 homework assignments out in one day, and he's like, "Hey, get them done."
That was a
And then
Chronicop.
So he doesn't do any, and he puts up his little lectures, and then the following week he'll put up more homework. So just been doing that, but outside of homework, it's been spending a lot of time with my wife and my daughter.
Tight.
And I actually reached out to you a little bit ago because the typical shows I watch, I wanted something new. Something new to watch.
Yeah, you got a lot of time to watch all that Netflix, man. You're blowing through Ozark Season 3.
Exactly. And rewatching The Last Kingdom because that season drops at the end of April.
Ooh.
When I'm not doing that, I've started watching anime. And I've never really been a big anime guy.
Yes.
But I said, hey, you know what? What's the perfect time to start something new than when I'm in quarantine?
Yeah.
So I started the show Castlevania on Netflix.
All right. Great series. I recommend it, by the way.
You did. And it was a great choice. So I watched season 1 of that, only 4 episodes. And then my wife and I started Cowboy Bebop, a classic from what I hear.
Yeah. One of my all-time favorite series. What we should do is I can watch anime at an unprecedented pace, okay? I started this is true right now. I've done my One Piece podcast. I started One Piece on December 23rd, and I am on episode 661 as of today. I'm going for the gold. I'm trying to catch up to 900 total around my birthday. But what we should do is I've never really had a podcast talking about an anime with another person. So when you finish Cowboy Bebop, we should trade, like maybe take some notes here and there or some things that you really liked, you know what I'm saying? And we can talk about a whole episode about Cowboy Bebop because that can go on for hours.
Okay.
What episode are you on?
So we just finished, was it the 3rd or 4th?
Okay, so
it was actually a little bit ago. So the casino episode.
with the cowboy?
Yeah, with the chip.
Yeah.
The poker chip.
Yeah.
So I think that was episode 3.
Yeah. I don't have my phone in front of me, so I can't. I mean, it sounds about right.
Yeah, so we just finished episode 3 while we were eating lunch. We watched 3 episodes, and then, because we didn't get to start it this past weekend.
Right.
And we're going to watch more later tonight, and then when she goes to bed, I'll probably put on some more Castlevania.
I know what kind of animes kind of people might like, because like you said, you were like, hey, what should I watch? I'm not going to recommend oh man, I know that I'm going to show this to Frank and he's going to just hate anime forever. Like there's certain animes that you gotta, if you've never watched it and you're 30 years old, you gotta ease into it, okay? Frank, I'm not going to recommend that you watch Fooly Cooly, FLCL, or whatever those initials are. Fooly Cooly is 6 episodes of this anime that blows your mind because it kind of makes fun of anime, but then it has really, really good anime itself. And I don't ever know how I really, truly feel about it. And that's just one of those things that you gotta watch when you've at least seen 6 series. But the good thing about Cowboy Bebop is there's this kind of weird underlying love story going on that you don't really know about until it's over. And Nikki's favorite is Inuyasha, I believe. And it's because she's just, the love story. And I'm like, that's why you watched it? She quit watching one of my personal favorites, Naruto. And then she was sitting with, I think we were over at your house, and she's like, so do they fall in love? And I'm like, what are you talking about? She's trying to get me to tell her the last episode. She's like, so did they get together? I'm just like, watch it. She's like, I don't wanna. Just tell me if they made it. And I'm like, man, dude, chicks, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's this one anime she watches now. I don't know what it's called.
Demon Slayer?
But it's just, it's a real slow, I don't don't know. I would have to ask her what it's called. But basically, I'll be in the bed. I was doing my homework before I moved my office space into a spare bedroom. And she had this anime on, which had it was just weird. It was just, to me, it was really weird. And I think it had the love story theme to it.
Yeah.
And some of the things that they were saying in it, I'm like, what is this? What are you watching?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, do you know, like, the biggest struggle of my life right now is?
What's that?
All right, One Piece is a masterpiece, okay? Like, and I highly recommend you never watch it in English. America whitewashed it, and they made a terrible intro. Like, I think that's why I was initially turned off, because I saw the opening theme song, and I was like, this is lame, because it was, like, made for kids. Like, there's a chef in there who smokes cigarettes. Like, he's just always burning cigarettes, dude. Like, he chain smokes more than probably a security force's smoke pit, man. So, he's always just burning down, and in the American show made for kids, he was eating a lollipop. And I'm like, so all these kids are like, man, Sanji really likes candy. And I'm just like, no, he's a chain smoker. He smokes he probably smokes at least 2 packs a day. And one of my favorite attributes about him, spoiler alert, just for the next minute, if you've never watched One Piece or listened to my stuff before, but he likes tits. And he smokes cigarettes. And he smokes a lot of cigarettes when he fights. And that's kind of a badass move. Like, he'll be like, I'm dying. I'm going to smoke this cigarette and use my ultimate move. And you're like, dude, that's going to be the best fucking burn in the world, dude. That's like you know what kind of a burn that is, Frank? That's a 6:30 on a Monday morning after a 3-day cycle on night shift in security forces. When you get back to your house and you get out of your truck and you take that burn and crack a beer, man, that's that feeling right there in that fight.
One of the greatest feelings that I think I've ever experienced in my life.
Yeah, don't smoke cigarettes, but god damn, man. that drag, man. I don't smoke, but I'm just saying, like, that feeling, man. Like, are you sure heroin feels good? Because have you ever tried this? Here's what you do. Just enlist in the military. Pick the worst job. Work mad 12-hour shifts, really 14-hour shifts, and work 3 days in a row with no sleep and dumb exercise. And tell me Monday morning, the best thing in the world for you is a cold beer and an NXT.
Exactly.
I don't smoke.
Take it back. I quit.
I mean, every American boy's had their occasional cigarette. That's me. Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, yeah, don't smoke, kids. It's not good for you. Hurts your lungs. Coronavirus. Yada yada yada. How you holding up without any sports, Frank?
It sucks. It actually really sucks. I do find myself watching, clips on YouTube and.
Yeah. I have YouTube channels I watch, but they're actually running stale now too.
Yeah, they are. I've started playing more sports video games to kind of make up for it.
Okay.
So, I got 2K20, and then this past weekend I downloaded FIFA 20.
Ooh.
So I've always liked the FIFA series,
Yeah.
and I can,
My last FIFA game was for the GameCube.
You haven't played FIFA since GameCube?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, I haven't bought a Madden since 2011. My roommate just got home. My dogs are happy.
Yeah, I guess, they don't really change that much more than just graphics.
I would just let my friends buy it. I stopped buying Madden and NCAA. I always bought NCAA, but my brother just killed me at Madden. I couldn't ever win. He would Bill Belichick me. It was horrible. He'd be like, run. He's like, I'm running 70% of the time. I'm getting 7-yard gains. And then when you try to blitz, I throw like a monster 40-yard pass. It's like he's playing as Michael Vick in 2002, but not even with Michael Vick. He's playing with like the Lions. He's running a traditional offensive package and then making the defense just get burnt. And I'm sitting over here every time. I'll have the best team. I'll hand it off to the best running back in that game. -2 yards. Next throw, incomplete. 3rd and 15. I'm like, I hate this game. I was so spoiled. I mean, I always had to buy them out of my own money, but I broke so many PlayStation 2 controllers. You could get a Mad Cat controller for your PlayStation 2 for like $20. That's only 2 lawns for me. At 11 years old, I can make $20 in a week. I had a hustle, and so man, my brother would piss me off, and we played in the basement, and there's carpet, but underneath the carpet it's cement, so I would just bash that MFer right on the ground, man. I mean, that's spoiled. I don't really have anger issues. Like, once I bought an Xbox 360 and the controller was like $50. I'm like, I'm never going to throw a controller ever again. Like, I might have thrown a controller like into a pillow at like its worst, but like I kind of like got over that like weird angry stuff after I was about 19 years old.
I've thrown my controllers in the days, but I think one of the things you were talking about in one of your episodes when it came to euchre, you get into it with some of your friends in euchre. I feel the same way about Madden and even 2K, 8 NHL, any kind of sports game. You get into it with like some of your closest friends. The game would glitch or some BS thing would happen, and you just start screaming. I'm like, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
And your friend would always look at you and be like, we always rubbed in each other's face.
Yeah.
And you come close to destroying friendships over sports video games.
Pause that story real quick. I don't know if the podcast will be able to hear this. I'll go play it back. But right now, there's the train coming through, and the cops are driving down the road. Welcome to Jackson, Michigan, where everything's happening at the same time. All right. But yeah, that's like, you can be pissed at your best friend for a sports game. And especially, like, let's say, most of the time what happened was he beat you on some bullshit last time, so you run it back and then it glitches. And he's like, I guess it doesn't count. And then man, that's the worst. Yeah, I wouldn't say end friendships, because, I mean, I'm not a woman, but I get mad. I won't text. I'll take you out of the group chat for like a couple days. Euchre not so much, because, I mean, in my younger days, I was more of an a-hole when I played euchre, but now I'm just like thankful to play euchre. And so I play with more of like, I don't get mad when I have nothing. I've had nothing all night before. Last time I had nothing all night, when I was playing over at Earl's, and it was rough, man. I kept getting dealt nothing. I would just he'd be like, dude, come on, get one. And I was just like, with what? Like, what do you want me to take it with? You want me to take it with this 9? I'm 3 suited and I had no trump. Like,
I don't think I've touched euchre since New Mexico.
Rough. I mean, like I always said, man, you and Nikki are always invited. I'm getting a new queen size for the guest bedroom. And on top of that, I have enough friends confidently that we can play euchre with at least 6 people for at least 8 hours.
I'd be down. We definitely need a vacation out of this state.
Because, I mean, like, shoot, I could, like, take off a week down the line and, when all this blows over, of course. And if it's still summertime, I can be like, hey, man, this is this part of Michigan, like, wherever you guys want to see,
I've never been to, I think furthest up north I've been was Wisconsin.
I would give you the Jake Taylor tour of Michigan if you're interested in hearing what probably that would entail.
I'd love to.
All right.
I'd love to hear what.
So first I would drive. Okay, so you would fly into Detroit. we would. I mean, you can get a Detroit Coney if you flew in the afternoon. We definitely get like Detroit pizza that night, just because it's like super convenient. And then I mean, like we don't really need to drive through Detroit. Like I could take you early or whatever to the airport. I mean, like unless we're going for a sports game, like that's when you really tour Detroit. Like we're not gonna go gambling at the Greek or nothing. But so we go back. So at first I take you to like my old stomping ground. So I drive you on like all these back roads and show you like, hey, this is where I used to hunt. This is my house, like my grandpa built, and all this stuff. Show you my grandma's house because it's really old. It's got like, if she's home, it's got like an old Michigan basement. When you walk in, it's got like the basement's made out of stones. The beams are made out of like cut trees, and like they didn't like, you know how clean a 2x4 looks? Well, they didn't like they instead of like taking the time, they were just practical. So they just shaved the ends until it fit into the notch, and the rest of it's pretty much just untouched. So it's kind of like, and that's what a Michigan basement is, because that's part of Michigan's history, that it's got a name to itself. Of course, I don't know if you've ever had one, but I would buy you a Faygo. My favorite is orange soda, personally. Rock and Rye is a hard second. But then I would take you on a tour. We could go to Mount Pleasant to see my old college alum, Central. I could take you to some eateries. If you guys wanted to go to some beautiful places, there's Traverse City. If you guys wanted to see Lake Michigan, that's the best lake. But there's like tons of activities to do. I would take you to my favorite restaurant in Michigan, which is Saucy Dogs. We would have to specifically go on Tuesday because it's 60-cent wing night and $1 beers. It might be $2 beers. But, man, classic eatery, small. It's like Jonesville's like the little hometown where I went. That's why I hashtag JT of Jayville. Opened up in 2005. Originally was 25-cent wing day. They had to put a limit on the wings at some point. And now a really good friend owns it. So that's kind of cool. Some guy I used to play a lot of pond hockey with. But yeah, so I would just like, I don't know, drive you around, and then my house has tons of entertainment. I got a full-size pool table. I'll have like a mosquito net thing that my grandma gave me this year, so we could have like a bonfire, but like sit inside this like nice netting. And then of course I'm probably gonna have a PC and a VR headset soon. So let's get wild.
Definitely. And I mean, I'm always down to view new places. And how far what is the Upper Peninsula from you?
Oh man, I'd be willing to take you to the bridge and drive you across it, just so you can say you've been to it. And then, okay, the only thing that we would do, because to drive to like better cities like Marquette, that's 7 hours, and ain't no way, Jose. But if we drove to the bridge, I would probably talk to my brother to see if he'd want to meet me halfway down. But we would go get a pasty, and then because a pasty is kind of like a chicken pot pie, but there's no gravy in it, because miners would have like just taken them to like the coal mine and eat it. I'm pretty sure that's the history. I might have butchered it, but that's what a pasty is. And if you call it a pasty, you're a fucking idiot. But so and then like we can take pictures and stuff because it's okay, this is, I hope I know this. I think it's the longest transcontinental, no, not the railroad. It's like the type of bridge. It's the longest that type of bridge. I should know this, and I'm a horrible Michigander for not knowing it. But I gotta look it up, because if I don't look it up, then I'll go crazy.
Suspension bridge, or?
Yeah, ooh, man, if you know, it might be type. Man, I put my keyboard. A suspension bridge. It is a suspension bridge in transcontinental. I am a idiot. Anyways, no, yeah, it's a 5 mile long suspension bridge, and some weird things about it. They never stopped painting it. When Dirty Jobs came out, but they basically, by the time they finish painting it, they go back to the start and they paint it again. What a job that would be. God, That's what it must feel like to be a BMT instructor for like 4 years. every 8 weeks, gotta do it again.
You have to do it again, and monotonous.
You are nothing. Now they can't even do that. They're like, hey, you're a human being too. Was that too loud? Was that too loud?
Can you please put your socks away? Make sure they're rolled the way I taught you.
Hey, you remember how I showed you how to roll that sock? Can you somehow please do it a little better? Please. Just give it your best try, please. That's all I ask. Just try.
Just try.
I'm gonna tell you right now, if I get recalled, man, there ain't gonna be no more JT show. I'll be on the run.
You can do it from the road.
I'll do it from the front lines. So they've actually shrunken me down like the Magic School Bus can, and I'm pretty much hanging out with Osmosis Jones, and we are actually going to war with Corona. It's wild in here. Everyone would be like, "Whoa." This is why I tell people I'm the dumbest person you know with the Masters, because I think of dumb things like what I just said. If you're listening, I apologize, but those are the thoughts that just completely go through my head the entire day.
And that's what makes for good content, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm just always thinking, I'm always thinking of ideas, and then like I have one of the things I write with comedy, like I try to sit down on my computer, but I just take time out of my day. Every time I think of something, I just stop what I'm doing. I just pause life, and I just get on my phone and just type it in, and then I go, okay, cool, I can write that later, and then I'll sit down and write it. But I get all these ideas for books too, like because I love reading and stuff, and I'm like, oh, that'd be a really cool character, and then I would type like 3 sentences about him, and I'm like, nah, that's stupid, that's dumb, I don't want to do it anymore. So, but one of these days I'm going to sit down and start like character writing for a book.
I thought about, so I was sitting in class a couple semesters ago.
Right.
And I had a book idea come to my head.
Right.
And so I remember there was, quick backstory, one night I was drinking, right after I moved down here to Florida. And I was pretty drunk, and I had this book idea come to my head, and I was like, oh my God, that would be perfect. And I started Googling to see if it was ever done before, and nobody had ever done it. And I'm like, oh my God, I got to write this down. Well, I ended up losing it, because I was drunk, obviously.
Right.
So I was pissed at myself, so I said, okay, if I ever have an idea come to my head, I'm going to actually write it down in a place I'll remember it.
Right.
And so I had this book idea come to my head about, I'll spoil it, I guess, because I haven't even started writing this. This was several semesters ago, almost a year ago.
Okay.
And
trademark.
It was the idea of trademark, copyright.
Steal it and I'll sue. Someone, quick, find me a paper with today's date on it.
If you steal it, I'm giving you the coronavirus.
Hold on. Hey, Google, what's today's date?
It is Tuesday, April 7th, 2020.
Hey, Google, what time is it?
2:11.
All right, you heard it here. You heard it here, folks. You heard it. You heard it right here. Trademark, copyright. Okay, go ahead. We got it.
Copyright.
We'll sue them. Go ahead.
So the idea was basically the world the United States in the future.
Okay.
And then you know how our Constitution is set. So ironically, the class was American national government.
Right.
But the Constitution has all the checks and balances and everything like that. And so it would be set in a time where this dictator gets elected in the presidency, and he manages to take over complete control of the U.S. government.
Okay.
And he starts burning history books and erasing the history of the United States.
Okay.
And he starts systematically killing off anybody who remembers what the U.S. used to be like before him, or if they choose not to get in line with him and listen to him. And so years pass.
That would be the lamest shit ever to die for.
Yeah. Oh, you remember what America was like beforehand? Sorry, boom.
Who won the Super Bowl in 2011? The Packers. No, it never existed. Yes, it did.
And so obviously it's not fully thought out, but
Yeah.
but either way, years have passed, and nobody knows what the United States was like prior. And this group of children are born with recurring dreams of memories from the founding fathers.
All right.
And so
You know what this reminds me of?
it sounds so cheesy, but all these like resistance groups basically
Want to kill the kids?
Say again?
They want to kill the kids that remember?
Well, the government doesn't know that they have these dreams, and this one resistance group knows the real truth, I guess.
Yeah.
And they try to get the kids together.
Yeah.
And so it'd be like the second American Revolution. And then eventually the government finds out that these kids exist, and so on and so forth.
I'm not hating on it. It reminds me of the Giver.
I'm not familiar.
How the Giver, I had to read. Everyone reads it. It's like that book where all the kids are like, they like have to take pills so they stop remembering emotions and colors and stuff, and the whole world's like black and white or whatever. But there's certain kids that like stop taking their medication or whatever, and they start dreaming again in color and warmth and stuff, and they can remember what sadness and things are. It's the weirdest shit. And then they're like, we gotta kill them, and they live in this weird like utopia society that's actually like dark as fuck. And I'm in the 8th grade, and my English teacher's like, comprehend this. And I'm just like, I don't want to read this book.
We were forced to read Kids on the Island.
Man, one of my favorite memes too. Shut up, Mill, you chapped. Fucking Josh Peck, man. Give that kid an award. Yeah, what's that? The Fly Kids. Whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Gosh, man, I can't think of what it is. It's
Lord of the Flies.
Lord of the Flies, man. I really like To Kill a Mockingbird. I don't know why. I read that book like twice. I read it once because we had to, and then once because I wanted to read it again when I was in college.
I don't remember the last time I actually read a full novel. I started reading the show The Last Kingdom. I started reading the book that it's based off of, which was called The Saxon Tales.
Right.
The Saxon stories, but they get Bernard Cornwell reading the book, The Last Kingdom, based off the Netflix show.
Right.
And so it's pretty cool. But that I read the first couple pages and haven't picked it up since, just because for someone who wants to be a writer, well, journalist, but I don't read much. I should.
Right.
I really should start reading more because of grammar and all that nonsense.
Yeah, I write down words all the time. I don't know what this means. What this is an 8th grade reading level? I suck. No, I'm just joking. But dude, I'm reading Empire of the Summer Moon, and sometimes that's a hard read. Sometimes I have to really sound out how I think this word's pronounced. It's a great book, and it's a book about American history, and it's not whitewashed, and it's not like made for school. It's like, hey, this is what happened, and here's all my sources. And I'm like, this is a well put together book. And it tells about the rise and the fall of the Comanche Indians, and it talks about I think her name is Susan Ann Parker. I might have that wrong, but she's the woman who was kidnapped by Native Americans and then threw away her American life when she had a chance to go back, and then she finally got captured, and then now it's talking about her sons, the half American, half Native American, people growing up in the society that just slaughtered a bunch of Indians. And boy, there's a lot of hatred on both sides, and I can see both points of view very easily. I'm not saying that we were right. I'm just saying I can understand why they did what they did at that time. like it's called I believe it's called Empire of the Summer Moon. It's because they basically attacked. They did their biggest night raids on a full moon. So like I don't know, that's like some English teacher level shit right there. No, but it's just like okay, you come over to America for freedom. You were oppressed, and then a couple generations later, we're still not that smart of a society. We're just venturing west. We've all established religion. This is about when Abraham Lincoln was about to run for office, so a couple of terms before him. So that's about the time era it is. It's like the 1800s. So being a white, maybe immigrant, maybe second generation male or female Christian or Jesus or religion having faith that has morals, a community, and you venture on with your family and you go out west and then you see these people that come along and you're coming up on their territory, so they kind of have every right because, we do it in every war. And but they don't just slaughter these families, they just mutilate them, and it is wild. And then if you saw that and survived, you'd be like, we gotta take care of these guys. Like, I'm not saying it was right, and there's a whole lot wrong with it, and there's this whole broken system, and I'm not a subject matter expert. All I'm saying is I've seen both points of view so far, and it's a great read. But I have to stop and Google things, and I'm just like, man, I am dumb. and then I'll read a book like that, and then I'll read science fiction.
You're like, Google, what is the Louisiana Purchase?
Well, yeah, they actually they talk about that in this book, and now because I always thought disease was one of the major killers of American Indians, but it was actually the revolver. Once these Texas Rangers figured out how to use, they got these prototype revolvers, and I think it was Colt. He went out of business and couldn't make them anymore, so he had to convince people. He was just like, I need help convincing people to give me money to buy guns. So he actually became one of the richest men in America. He gave away guns to the Texas Rangers, and then he became one of the richest men in America after he was bankrupt. And so, anyways, once they could rapid fire and not fight a bunch of idiots because they would get off a horse, and then a Comanche riding a horse going 20 miles an hour would just come by and spear you. Stop getting off your horse, So they figured it out. Anyways, yeah. So there's just a whole lot of that going on, and it's a good read, and I'm really excited too because once the coronavirus is over, my mom and dad are renovating their basement. My mom's been hoarding all these books that she used to read, and some of those books are gross. But anyways, they're romantic. But yeah, so she's like, yeah, you can take these all. She's like, you can take them all back to the book exchange. So once spring comes around, I'm going to build a bookshelf, and then I'm going to go to the book exchange, so I'm going to have a ton of books.
Yeah, I want to, at some point, my parents have quite a bit of books, too.
Yeah.
Down in their basement. And so, I should start reading again. Nikki mostly reads mangas, so
I love them.
We don't have any. That was my first taste of anime was manga.
Yeah. When I was reading, just a quick quip. When I was watching Naruto, I was so amped about it that I actually read ahead, and so I would be 20 episodes, or however many episodes ahead of the TV show. So I always know it was coming, but it was cool to see it both ways.
Does that count as spoiling it for yourself?
Yes and no. Okay, so My Hero, I haven't read anything. The guy at my work, he tells me it's about to get lit. I don't think it ruins the experience. I think it actually enhances the experience. But sometimes I do it backwards now. I will watch the anime first, and then I will read the manga after.
Okay.
Because sometimes... Go ahead.
I was going to say, because I've always questioned, somebody puts out a spoiler, I guess, and
I mean, it's based off the book.
yeah, they go like, "Oh, don't spoil it for me." You go, "Well, the books have been out for X amount of years,
Yeah,
so it's not my fault that you don't know about it."
yeah, I that's very fair. Like, I'd say it's like 2 years. If you haven't seen something in 2 years, then sorry. Now, like 2 years after it's completed, like all the way through, because I didn't get into Game of Thrones until season 3.
I didn't watch Game of Thrones until they were in the middle. How many seasons are there? 8, right? So
8, yeah, season.
So I didn't start watching Game of Thrones until it was season 7.
Wow. Yeah, way to hold out.
I know, and so I binged it all on leave. The old time of leave down here in Florida when you didn't have anything else to do because my wife worked all the time.
Right.
So I binge watched all the Game of Thrones seasons up to season 7, and then I had to wait for season 8 like everyone else. But yeah, like someone gets mad, like, don't spoil X-Men for me. You know, X-Men came out how long ago?
And it continued to get worse, so I'm saving you the trouble. The last one was awful.
I've never really, unpopular opinion here, I've never been into the Marvel or DC Universe movies.
Hey man, I'm not one of those people that'll be like, oh, no. I'm just be like, okay, whatever, it's cool, man, I love it. You don't, I won't bore you with it. I might throw a meme at you that you'll be like, I kind of get it, but
I know it was a dick move, but I do kind of find it funny what LaShawn McCoy did on Twitter.
What was that?
When it was one of the Marvel movies came out, and people are like, don't spoil it. So that, on Twitter you can go in and censor hashtags.
Yeah.
So people go in and censor all these hashtags, and LaShawn McCoy purposely misspelled words.
Wow.
Or the keywords and stuff, and he purposely misspelled words to spoil it for people. Now, I mean, that's a dick move.
But that's like mega trolling.
But it's slightly funny, too, if you think about it. Because he probably got death threats, I'm assuming.
Well, I mean, I think it was in Texas, coming out of Star Wars Episode 7, he ruined the ending. Which, by the way, I'm going to tell you right now, spoiler alert, Han Solo died. And, biggest shocker. I saw it on opening night. Blew my mind. It was the hardest secret to keep. But imagine the midnight shows are packed that they just had Star Wars running 24/7 almost. And the next line of people are coming in. They've been waiting since midnight probably. It's 3 a.m. in the morning, and they're ready to see Star Wars. They've taken off their Fridays. I didn't. I had to work on Friday, so I saw it at midnight. But some guy walks past you and goes, Han Solo died. And they kicked the shit out of him. The cops were like, no, we're not pressing charges. And they just kicked that other dude out.
That is screwed up, though.
That dude got his ass beat. Yeah, but, I mean, he got his ass beat. So, I mean, at least he got his ass beat. I would want to be. That would make me super upset. But, man, the emotions that I felt, I was like, my heart. Like, it was, yeah. It was such a, I mean, I like 7. I like 9. I don't really like 8 so much at all. But that's how I kind of feel about number 2.
I like Star Wars. I've never been like a hardcore junkie into it. I have had friends that, I know you're pretty big into it, and I've had friends growing up that were like,
yeah, they're coming out with a new trilogy for they're coming out with a new trilogy for Star Wars, and I think the books are going to release early, so I'm definitely going to get on that.
And it's funny because I haven't seen it since, I don't think I've watched the Star Wars since, not the Phantom Menace. We're going back now.
Okay, Phantom Menace, Clone Wars, Episode 3.
The one where Anakin obviously finds out Anakin becomes
Oh, so like the third movie.
of the early 2000s.
Man, I should know what it is. whatever. I don't even know. I know everyone else. It's A New Hope, and then it's The Empire Strikes Back, and then Return of the Jedi, and then it's The Force Awakens, and then it's 8 and 9. But I can't think of what number 3 is. But whatever.
And so I haven't seen it since then. I saw the original 3, and then the 2000s, and I haven't seen the recent ones. I know Nikki has, and then we got to go to, we live an hour and a half from Disney, and so we have the Disney passes.
Oh, by the way, that might be a 2021 trip.
Oh, definitely. Anytime, you guys are welcome anytime down here.
Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, they should have, because I got to go to their new theme park in Disney World.
Did you get to ride the new ride?
I didn't ride the 18, 20-minute one.
Yeah, the new So do you know the process for that?
No, I rode the Millennium Falcon ride.
Oh, that's tight. So for the big ride, you have to show up early in the morning to wait in line to get a ticket, and then you have to take that ticket and then wait in another line, and hopefully you get in line early enough to where they can still see you.
Oh, wow.
So me and Cut are thinking about going to see that, and then wait in line, take a whole day just to go do that. Go to bed early, sleep at 3 p.m. and wake up at 10 a.m. Be there at 1 o'clock in the morning and just bring our Nintendo Switches and just chill.
Yeah, you would definitely, because the park opens at 7 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m.?
Yeah, but you could probably park and wait in line to get into the park.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah.
And then the second they open, boom, you're in, and then boom, you get your ticket.
Yep.
And I don't know if, so one of Nikki's friends, they're all all Disney employees are currently furloughed right now, the ones that work at the park.
Yeah.
And so one of Nikki's friends worked in Galaxy's Edge, the Galaxy Edge.
Wow.
At Disney World as a cast member. So the last time we went to Disney with Kira, I said when Kira was born, we stopped paying for our Disney passes. We let it expire, and we're going to get it again when she gets a little older and can remember Disney World.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But the last time we went, Kira was 6, 7 months old, and we took her to Disney for the first time, and we got in because of her friend. Or two of her friends work for Disney. So it's super cool, to be able to just. So one thing I love about living in Florida is just being able to just go. You're like, oh, want to go to Disney World today, tomorrow, or whatever? Yeah, babe, okay. And you make the hour and a half trip, spend a day of it, watch the fireworks, and then drive home.
Yeah.
But I didn't get to ride I just did the Millennium Falcon where you are given different seats on the ride.
Right.
So I was the gunner.
Ooh.
And then they have
does the thing swing around? Does it move?
Yeah, so
does the chair move?
The whole ship moves.
Oh my god.
So
let's risk it. Now just open back up.
So you see let's go for I don't care. And so you see the whole, so they have this green.
Yeah.
And to have you go through this whole the building till you get to the actual ride, and it's got animatronics, and it's a really cool experience. And then you get up to the actual ride, and they give you a card hey, you're going to be a gunner. You're going to be, I forget what the other one was.
Chewie, the pilot. C-3PO.
Yeah.
The odds.
And it's actually really cool, man. You get into it, and then the thing moves, and
that's tight.
You see the screen moving, and you actually, as the gunner, you're actually hitting the buttons in it, and you're actually firing. And so it'll tell you your accuracy at the end.
Wow.
It's
Sign me up.
So, and I can only imagine what the rides are going to be like when we're in our 60s, 70s.
Dude, that's why, I'm trying to get on board with this VR stuff so I can start learning it early so then I can really do it well later.
Yeah, I don't want to be that 80-year-old guy who doesn't know how to send an email. You know.
Yeah. Spoiler alert. I'm trying to learn how to play the piano. It's very difficult. I have to think with both.
My dad.
I have to think with
You're
both hands
learning
at
how
the
to
same.
play?
Yeah, I'm trying to learn how to play piano.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we set up I got a free piano and we just set it up in the garage. My mom's my mom because I cleaned out my garage and my parents FaceTime me because social distancing. They're like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Look at my garage," and they're like, "Who are you?" But I have a real crispy garage right now, and I haven't really been in it, so it's remained crispy. Like you can go in it like after a week, it's like looking back to normal. But I've been working overtime like mad. But I'm getting a table saw, and I'm gonna build a bunch of stuff. I got some summer projects coming up. So basically,
Did you ever,
go ahead.
I was going to say, did you ever do that mural that you were going to paint?
Oh, you mean wait?
For decoration?
Not yet. I mean, like I did my first painting, the one that's in my podcast right now. I'm gonna do a new spring one. So hopefully, all the colors that I have, I can do it. I'll do a spring painting, and I'll probably put it up like that. I gotta hang up I gotta hang up this piece that's gonna go behind me in my one room. Hopefully, I can do that next week or this weekend. So if I have enough. I might have to go to like Myers to get them, but if I have enough special screws, I'm going to try to hang up the thing. So you might see that by like the next podcast. But anywho, back to the original story. My mom's like, that piano's going to get ruined. And I was like, it's free. It's like $10. It's like a really cheap. It's a less expensive piano, but it's like almost in tune. But I'm just going to like get it tuned up once, and then it'll naturally go out of tune. But I can't get it tuned right now because of the coronavirus. But it just sits in my garage, and so I can when my roommate's home, I can play piano in the garage, and it kind of sounds cool. And then if I ever get good, I can open up the garage, and then people be like, "Wow, that kid plays some really shitty ass piano. Shut the fuck up." But at least I'm not trying to learn the drums, because God, I'm fucking stupid when I try to learn the drums, dude. I'm like, I got no rhythm, dude. I'm white. That's it.
I played trumpet in high school.
Me too.
You could get your neighbors to like, you're like, anyone want to request? Yeah, chopstick.
Yeah, shut the fuck up. And plus, like, I don't know if my dogs. I feel like my husky's gonna hate it. I don't really know. So, I keep them in the house and I go play piano in the garage.
That's pretty cool, though. I only ever played trumpet. I played cello in third grade or fourth grade. No, third grade. In the fourth grade, I played trumpet, and then I was band flight at BNT.
Same,
okay.
Dude. Same. And we were Eagle Scouts.
And Eagle Scout.
Yep.
Last time I was home, almost 2 years ago now, I've been back up to Philly, the Philly area. I grabbed my trumpet, and then brought it down here, and I opened it up, and I was like, "Hey, babe, you think I can remember how to read sheet music?" And I started playing. Holy crap, I'm horrible. I forgot how to read music. And I didn't think that was a skill you lose. Apparently you do. So
yeah, I was okay with reading music, but I would just memorize everything. So I could read music, but I would never remember like what note it was. Like my band teacher would be like, "What note is that?" And I'd be like, "Oh, that's just first and second finger." And he's like, "Yeah, but what's the note?" And I'm like, "First and second finger," And then, but when I would learn stuff like that, and then if I was like a note off, I would just like change my fingering, LOL, that's what she said, until it sounded right. So I still know how to play the Pink Panther, Flintstones, the Michigan Fight Song, just because I memorized so I was in the marching band, okay? And I just didn't. I hated that piece of shit thing that hung on your trumpet. So I would just memorize all the songs, so I didn't have to have my little stupid book when I played my senior year. But then I didn't even have to do it except for twice, because if you're on the football team, you don't do marching band. She's like, don't you want to do marching band? I'm like, no, I want to go to the locker room to get yelled at for being a piece of shit. Why would I want to play music?
So, it was a buddy of mine in high school. We were last seat and second to last seat in the trumpet section for band class. And our junior year, senior year did not take it seriously enough. So we used to, whatever the trumpet version of lip singing is.
Yeah.
So we were just push the button because, you had to use the little slider thing on the trumpet. And it got a little bit more intense playing. So we would just push the button. We weren't paying attention. We weren't paying attention one day, and the conductor, the teacher, had stopped the band. And him and I are still sitting there pushing buttons, pushing the keys, looking at each other, laughing.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't realize at the moment everybody had stopped playing.
Embarrassing.
And then when we did realize it, we did the look on the teacher's face, the entire class was looking at us. It was a funny experience. So that's my joke telling, my funny story telling.
It was definitely there. Like, it was definitely there. What you did, the only thing that ruined it is you ruined it by ruining it. It was a good story, and then you're like, it's not really a good story, so just forget about it. Like, it was good. You just need to finish strong, man.
You gotta put a good ending on it.
Well, I mean, like, not that it didn't have a good ending, but just don't doubt yourself, It's like, when I type, I mean, like, some of the jokes I do for satire, but, like, I don't know. I try to understand my audience. I don't even have an audience, but I just try to think how they would think and how I would adjust these jokes. So sometimes I, like, write a couple different endings for a joke, and then I have to film it and record it, and then you have to watch yourself. And I have 2 recordings, and I hate watching the one from, like, 2010. Because, originally I did stand-up one time in college, and it was so much fun. So I did it again. And then I did it in Texas, in Ann Arbor. But with my schedule right now, I want to do it more. But, dude, I just, I like living in Michigan. I got a good job and stuff. And, man, I just want to quit everything and go do it.
You do something you love, That's what you want to do.
See, here's what I want to do. Okay, so here's I've talked about it on the podcast before, but here's my, like, overall goal. So, so when I'm at work, sometimes people are like, well, because they're like, oh, what do you want to do for the rest of your life? Or, like, you're trying to be a cop, you want to do more of this, or, like, you want to be a firefighter, or what are you trying to do after, this job? And I'm just like, well, not this job. I just want to be happy, And they're like, well, what do you mean? And it's kind of like that John Lennon thing, but, like, I really feel that. I feel that so much. I just want to, like, not happy as in, like, I don't want to work in this. I'm satisfied, but, like, go to an environment where, you're not stressed, And somewhere where, like, you enjoy the company of your coworkers and there's a good, like, little thing. But what I want to do is, like, I want to be a comedian. I want to write comedy. And I wish I would have told myself that earlier so I could have pursued it longer, but it's never too late to get in the game, but I'm giving myself 5 years. So in 5 years, whether I make it or whatever, I'm going to save up money, and then I'm going to, like, probably, like, pay some college students from, like, Central, because I'll just email a professor and be like, hey, do kids want to make some cash? And then I'm going to rent out a theater, and then I'm going to, like, sell tickets, and then, like, film a special, and then release it on YouTube. Like, if I don't get picked up or nothing, I'm just going to film an hour-long special, edit it all together, release it, and just be like, well, I gave it my all. Like, I gave it everything I could, guys,
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's never too late to get in the game. What was it? Didn't Steve Carell get a late start?
Yeah, but, I mean, he's so talented, man. I suck, Like...
You don't suck.
Dude, Steve Carell is like, oh, man, some of his more serious movies, dude, and he makes you cry so many times in The Office, and you're like, stop.
I don't know how many times I've cried. I've cried cried and laughed. Every emotion you can have in The Office. All-time favorite show for me.
I am American. No, but yeah, man, like the Office memes, like that they have because you love the show, and like I saw a meme today, like me every time I see somebody from The Office in another movie, and it's like someone pointing like super hard at something, but like, oh, it's okay. I'll tell you what scene it's from. Have you seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
No, I've not.
Okay, well, there's a scene where, not Brad Pitt's character, but the other star in that movie, Leo. It's his character. He's like eating popcorn and like laughing really hard and like watching something and like pointing at it, and like that's you pointing. It's like that's you pointing at the TV when you watch people from The Office. See, that's why it's easier to send memes than to explain a meme. But yeah, don't just send the meme, okay? Like it's never yeah, and then look at it, you know. Let me read it and then show you, you know. let me tell you everything that you can process in an instant and make it way longer than it has to be, killing the hilarity of the joke because you've already written it like I just did. So.
There's a way that you explain things that still make it fun.
I know, but my mind's just all over the place, man. It just like I don't know, like I try to look at situations and I try to like look at it from every angle. How is this a sad situation? How can you make it funny? Like not all situations you can make funny. But I try to look at every situation, then I'll kind of be like, yo, this happened, and then the way like I talk about it, that's why I think I hopefully can make it, because I want to tell stories like that, of like observing things that most people would look at normal and then putting the thing on it and then making the punchlines, and everyone's like, I get it, I've been there, that's me, ha 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 ha, you know? Like that's what I want to deliver.
Yeah, because I think that's what makes some of the best. I mean, I'm not a comedy connoisseur.
I am. I'm taking so many notes.
Yeah, I watch comedy, and if I find it funny, I laugh, and if I don't, I don't. You know, but there's always that special. I always kind of envious of comedians with that ability to be that. You know, a lot of them are quick on their feet. They can put those, like you're saying, put those spins on certain stories. Like I was reading Reddit the other day.
Right.
And they were talking about coronavirus. And obviously it's the hot topic now because that's what's going on. And
yeah.
Some guy shared a news article that Bill Gates was going to donate something like $1 billion to help fight coronavirus.
Right.
And so somebody had wrote in the comment section, you know, who would have ever thought that us buying Windows 95 was going to, you know, help with a pandemic? And some guy wrote in the comment section, he's like, well, what do you mean? Norton antivirus didn't work with this?
Right.
And, like, that's hilarious. I started laughing. And talking about coronavirus, you know, anyway, but the ability of comedians to be able to, or just people like you that have that quickness to make jokes, even in bad situations, that lightens the mood, you know?
Yeah, I know when it's super not appropriate, and I know when it's like your boys. Like, man, I've said some pretty brutal things in front of the wrong people sometimes, and I'm just like, that was for the boys. My bad. Should have.
Yeah.
It's rough.
Yeah, I mean, it's easier with the boys. Even then, with your true boys, you can make those kinds of jokes off collar, right? Isn't that the word? And then like the dark humor.
Yeah, it's just dark humor, dude. It's just things that you say with your boys that stay with your boys, and that's all it is. You're not a bad person. You're not a racist. We're not saying bigot things. We don't believe that anyone's created differently, and we have a respect for all people except for like people who don't vaccinate their kids. But No, but we respect everybody essentially. Sorry, this is unprofessional. My coworkers are having this like little feud right now in my group chat, so I have to mute the conversation because it is going off. I'm gonna have to scroll through a lot of stuff because I can't miss any of the work drama.
That's going to be. I always love drama when it doesn't involve yourself. You know.
Yeah, I stay out of it. Ever since I left the military, I just people ask me, and I'm like, I don't even know, don't even care. Just tell me about it, but I don't know anything. I don't ask about anything. I don't know. It's easier just to just worry about make your circle small, worry about the people that you care about, and your life will just be a little bit happier.
Yeah, and I watched the podcast with the episode with you and Fraser.
Yeah.
And
Brat Daddy.
Such a good dude. Miss him.
Yeah, dude.
But
he'll definitely be back on.
Say again?
He'll definitely be back on.
Oh yeah, he's such a good dude. I remember, so many good memories. Anyway, but I don't miss when you guys were talking about stuff in the military. I do miss the camaraderie. I miss the friendships. We were all in the stuff together. We all hated our lives equally.
Yeah.
And so we bonded off that. And you don't really get that in the civilian world. Yeah. But at the same time, I don't miss the constant bullshit we had to deal with.
Constant.
I just love the fact that I don't have to see my coworkers.
Yeah. Here's the greatest example about what you just said. Hey Frank, how you taking care of yourself?
Do good.
Okay, that's good. That's it. All right, now here's the military version. Hey Frank, how you taking care of yourself?
I'm okay.
Okay, that's good. Well, this person's doing bad and they messed up and it's your fault. So let's yell at you for it.
Yep. Or this person. Hey, where were you the last 2 weeks? I was on leave. Okay, well, somebody broke the law. Okay? Why didn't you know about this? Why weren't you looking after your wingman?
Because he was supposed to fall under somebody else because of the structure.
Yeah, I was 1,000 miles away in a different state.
Yeah. I mean,
not an excuse.
It just here's the worst one overall. Hey, what were you doing last night? I was working. Oh, well, why'd you let this airman get a DUI? What do you want me to do? I was working. I don't even. We literally never see anybody from that flight because we're working. How could I possibly prevent that? Could I have taken out a $500,000 loan and bought every single bottle of alcohol in the state of New Mexico, in the city of Clovis? Could I have checked out of work and gone and poked my finger in that motherfucker's mouth and made him throw up and knock him out so he didn't get a DUI? What more could I have done? I'm just saying, blanket punishment makes sense kind of, but at the same time, for those involved, it makes sense. But for those who might be at work, I just couldn't take it. I don't want to talk about it. PTSD, Now, real people have that. I'm sorry if you do. I'm not trying to make fun of it. I'm just saying, when you feel that rush of emotions, when you can remember how you feel, when you don't just bury it deep down, but when you can remember those feelings of grief, you're because, every now and then, you have a bad day, and I'll just be nah, man, I used to have a really bad day. This is a good day.
I don't think my worst day in the civilian world can even top my semi-good day in the military, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
When I got out of the military, before I started school, because I didn't know if I was ready to start school, and so I started to work at a pool store because I needed money.
Yeah.
I got berated by customers, and for stuff that I had no control over.
Yeah.
And I don't think I even sat there and went, kill myself. That's not a joke. Like,
Yeah, you
not
know, like
joke of suicide conversations, but
like you know, like sometimes you're having such a bad day, you're like, God, I don't want to be here. This is the fucking worst, dude. Like when you have those real shitty, deep, dark thoughts about working.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it, like we said, you know, I miss the friendships in the military. I just don't miss all the extra stuff that came with it. And the fact that we can all still talk with each other because of the time we live. You know, it's not
That's the
World War I
best.
where we have
That's the
notes.
best part. I have a fantasy football league with some of them. I flew out to see you. Pepper's the next one. Cut and I still hang out. Xbox, video gaming. Like there's so many like I can't find it. Like if you're in the military like you're working a lot too, but I'm saying like if you were in the military and like you are laid off, you are just you're kind of appreciating like the time that you have to still hang out with your friends the way you can, because like yeah, you do miss those old conversations. Here's an idea. I'm probably not gonna get married because I think I want to put everything into this career, and I don't want to start investing time in a woman and drag her through some bullshit. You know, like. Hey, I'm going to be gone every weekend I have off because I'm trying to make it in comedy. Sorry I spend no time with you. Why don't you love me? So I just feel like, I don't know, that's what I think about. So instead of a wedding where I invite all my friends, I'll just invite all my military friends that I like, and I'll just invite you guys all up, and whoever pays for their ticket up will just get like a free, front row seats to my special. So, at least the first maybe couple rows will just be all my friends.
Oh, yeah. And then if I'm a big-time journalist by then.
Oh, yeah, I'll give you the scoop, man.
I'll write a positive piece,
Yeah.
Becoming comedian.
Yeah. Wow. You send your journalists to Michigan from Florida? Yeah, we're committed. Yeah, but what I want to try to do is I think I'm going to start attacking Chicago after everything blows over.
There's a big comedy scene in Chicago.
I believe there's like a pretty good size, like a well-sized one, and there's a few bigger clubs. It's 4 hours away, but I feel like if I can get some guaranteed spots, I would make the drive as much as I could.
Here's one thing I was, always reminded of since I started school. All it takes is one time.
Yeah.
All it takes is that one good show you put on, the one right person sees it, and all it takes is once.
Yeah.
For success.
Yeah. But
as long as you're putting in the work.
Yeah, and right now, like, I just started really committing to this, like, and the whole world shuts down. But the weird thing is, like, I'm not trying to, like, I wrote such an, what's the word for it? I don't want to write jokes about the coronavirus because everyone's going to attack it in their own way, but I just put such a weird and crazy spin on it that I don't think anyone's going to take this avenue of approach, or so I hope. Because I'm not saying people steal my jokes, because a lot of jokes are based off the same ideas or theories, but sometimes you'll think about a concept and then like you'll see a person do it, but like completely on a different subject, but it'll be kind of like the same pace of what you're going for, and you're like, dang, dude, like that's exactly what I was describing, but now he already did it, and he's way more talented than I am, so I'm just going to go home and just delete that from my phone. So sometimes the things I write, if like someone like broke into my phone and like got into the notes, they would be like, wow, this guy writes some really weird shit. I've got some jokes too. I'm like, I can't say this until I get a pass, and I'll be able to say whatever I want. Just kidding. But I mean, there are people who are well respected, so I mean, I know you're not a comedy connoisseur, but connoisseur, whatever. I don't know. I told you I'm dumb. Do you have a favorite comedian?
Yeah. So I was always a big fan of. Wow, I call myself a fan, and I can't remember his name right now. I always liked Jim Gaffigan.
Okay.
His comedy was always just.
Family friendly.
It was family for it was dry, but there were certain things he said that still was pretty funny. And obviously, you can never go wrong with Dave Chappelle.
Number one.
And I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on the name of this comedian. My brain must be not working today.
What?
He was one of the got in trouble for showing his dick.
Ari?
No,
Joey Diaz?
no.
Artie
He had
Lang?
his own TV show. That doesn't help.
Dice Clay?
No, Ginger. He's Ginger. Sorry, not in a bad
How
way.
dare you?
Wow,
I've
I
heard,
can't believe I'm drawing.
I've heard this story before. I really don't want to type in on my Google bar comedian that pulls his dick out on stage.
I'll do it. Fuck it. There's already weird shit being looked at in Florida internet anyway, right? All the
No.
weird shit done.
If you think Florida newspaper headlines are weird, you should see the browser history. No,
Oh, man.
she's my actual cousin. Terrible.
Comedian shows genitalia. Let's see how that pops up. Okay. I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on his name.
I've heard this story before too, and I feel like I'm failing as a stand-up for not knowing it. Just like I didn't know that the Mackinac Bridge was a suspension bridge.
Is it? No, it's not Monday. I was going to say hashtag Dirt Mondays, but Wednesday, right?
Yup.
Tuesday?
Monday. I'm just kidding. It's Wednesday.
If it helps with the this I mean, I can't tell you like the guy made a joke about this, and then comedians all make a joke. Wow. Let me look at try to figure it out real quick. He pretty popular comedian, and when the whole Me Too stuff came down,
It wasn't Louis
he
C.K.
was yes,
It was?
Louis C.K.
I didn't. So he did that on stage?
No, in the
Oh, you're talking about behind the scenes. Yeah, that makes so much more sense. Yeah. I thought. Yeah, no. Yeah, that's already been talked about. It's not. I'm not gonna put my 2 cents on it.
he was probably my favorite comedian over time.
He's real
watching
good.
a lot of stuff. I like Bill Burr. I also really like draw by again.
Tom Segura, Bert Kreischer.
Favorite comedian.
Oh,
He's
Chris.
got a podcast.
Chris D'Elia.
D'Elia. Chris D'Elia.
Man, if he ever heard this, he'd probably be like, "You're a fucking idiot."
I watched his podcast, so
Yeah, he's so funny. I'm like I follow him on Twitter, and he had this rant about getting free toilet paper. I'm just like, this is a real human being. like his new special, by the way, comes out April 14th on Netflix.
Okay.
I do believe so. Go watch it.
I will. Yeah, and I would say those are my top comedians.
I saw Tom Segura last year. I saw Dave Chappelle in Detroit. I saw him at the same place. I want to see Bert Kreischer eventually now. I'm going to go see Joe Rogan in December if that happens. So, knocking out some more people. But, it's
Some of the best right now.
you know what feels better than a burn after 6:30 in the morning when you get done with your 3-day weekend? It's when you kill it. It's when you kill it. When you kill it and you're like, wow, it's actually happened. Like at little open mic night, like my second time at Central, I was just like, I heard this, but it wasn't that funny, so I'm gonna say this about it, and I killed it. I don't know what it was, and I was just like, I want to do this forever. And that's why people get addicted to heroin, because they get that feeling all the time, but then they go down to like a way worse feeling. Like when you don't kill it, that's like your bottoms of hair. You know, that's like when you're like, wow, life is terrible. I
When you're
bombed.
about to OD.
I bombed on stage. I bombed on stage, and I was just like, well, here's some jokes that I don't know that I don't know if they're gonna be good, and they probably suck. But now's the perfect time to try them, and they just kept getting worse, and it just kept getting quieter. I heard a cough, and I was just like, wow, like, where's the sharpest knife, and how close is it? You know, but. Anyways, Frank, it's coming up on that time. You got anything you want to say before we sign this off?
Other than it's always a pleasure to
Always.
all the listeners out there. Stay safe during the coronavirus. Stay inside.
Yeah.
Because I kind of want this shit to be over with. You know what I mean?
Yep, I do know what you are saying.
So, yeah, and then, you know, everybody's always welcome in Florida. Just let us know ahead of time. And, hell, you know, I know you and Cut were talking about Disney.
Oh, yeah.
We've also
Disney.
got, hopefully with this season, this NFL season coming up, Super Bowl is going to be in Tampa.
Yep.
So, tickets are hell of expensive, but all the events around the city are free.
Oh.
And it's only 45-minute drive from my house. You know, it's 40 minutes, not even 45 minutes. So
I've got this thing that I have to tell you. Just stand by real quick, people. I want to say this for the record, and I wrote this down, and I will use this in stand-up because, you know, some people will never hear of this podcast or ever hear this podcast, but listen up. I know who is behind the coronavirus. You know who it is?
no.
It's the New England Patriots. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's let me tell you why. Okay? Everyone's gonna burn their draft picks on Tua. The kid from Oregon looks good. Joe Burrow's going first round overall. There's gonna be a few teams that are gonna take these Tua and the kid from Oregon. I should know his name, but I'm not a professional. But all these people are gonna be, you know, burning their draft picks for these quarterbacks, and the Patriots are just gonna wait back, man. They're just not gonna really take. They're gonna probably invest in like an offensive line. So, the Patriots invest in their offensive line. The NFL season gets canceled indefinitely because it's even worse. It's the worst thing you've ever seen in your entire life. So not only did Tom Brady leave and they didn't pay him his ridiculous money, the draft is going to be the weirdest thing you've ever seen for the next year. And who's coming out of the draft the next year in 2020? Whose last season is it this year? Indefinitely. There's no way he goes back for a senior year. Who is it?
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence is going to be the number one overall draft pick indefinitely, unless he like breaks his fucking arm. Unless he's like a grizzly bear rips his throwing arm off. He is going to be probably one of the greatest. We'll call it early. I'm going to call it earlier than Cut called Zion. But let's say the draft gets all wonky. Well, man, that's weird. Who traded a lot of their draft picks away for the next year's draft? The Patriots. They spin a wheel. It's on live TV. There's hundreds of balls in this thing, and it's turning like a lottery, and the vacuum thing's on, and they pull over the card, and the ball pops up, and what's on it? It's a New England Patriot logo who gets the number one overall draft pick. And who's coming out other than Trevor Lawrence? And Bill's just sitting there thinking, where am I going to put that 11th ring? Do I make it a toe ring? Do I make it a cock ring? But I'm just saying, if that happens, you can't convince me otherwise. Because you know what people would say, Frank? They would say, that is such a New England Patriot thing to do. That is such a fucking Patriot thing right there. Of course the Patriots did that. Can you believe what the... Man, dude. You know, and you know who would be pissed? You know who would be the most pissed person in the entire history of the world?
No.
It's Tech Sergeant Paul. Oh, man. He did.
Trending on Twitter, #CoronaGate.
Dude, Corona Gate. All right, then. Hey, man, thanks for stopping by. Hey guys, if you like my stuff, jtofjville.com, hashtag me, jtofjville, JT Show Show. I'm on Twitter, jtofjville, Venmo, jtofjville, Instagram, jtofjville. I don't use Facebook. I don't really care. And my merch will be coming out after the coronavirus. I know I said after 25 episodes, but I'm not going to ship out shirts and then give you corona. So once everything's cool, that's when t-shirts are going to go out. I'm not really going to tell anybody what it is. It's going to be a surprise. So when it comes time to mailing them out and getting them, you'll just be surprised when you see them. Anyways, thanks for doing it with me, Frank, and signing out. Captain's Log.